Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, we are starting the Majlis program for today. I'm requesting Brother Sayyid Muhammad to come and start recitation of Hadith Qissa.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري أنه قال عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي برسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام إني أجد في بدني ضعف فقلت له يوزق بالله يا بتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة إني بالكساء اليماني وغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني وغطيته به وأسرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلو كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله صلى الله فما كان إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء وقال عليك السلام يا ولدي يا صاحب حوزي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كان إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت من جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء والسلام عليك يا جداه والسلام عليك يا من اختاره الله وتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء فقال عليك السلام يا ولدي يا شاو في أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي ابن أم رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو ما ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له عليك السلام يا أخي يا وسي يا خليفتي يا صاحب الذي قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا بتاه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال عليك السلام يا بنت يا بطاتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ برسول الله بطرف الكساء وأمي بيده اليماني وإليه السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل البيت وخاصتي وهامتي لهم لمهي ودم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا حرب لمن حربهم وسلم لمن سلمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني أنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم واذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي يا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت سما مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا خمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مزية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل البيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبألها وبنوها. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال جبرائيل يا رب أتعوذن لي أن أهبط إلا الأرض لا أكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله علي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سما مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا خمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مزية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فلتأذنوا لي يا رسول الله. فقال رسول الله عليكم السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله أخذها إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبي واصطفاني برسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جم من شيتنا محبين إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. وقال علي نزا والله فزنا فاز شيتنا رب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا يا علي الذي بعثني بالحق النبي واصطفاني بالرسالة النجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جم من شيتنا محبين وفيه مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضي الله حاجته. وقال علي نزا والله فزنا وسويدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسويدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. صلى الله عليه
بہت بہت شکریہ سید محمد بھائی. حدیث قصہ کی تلاوت ہو چکی ہے اور آپ حضرات سے گزارش ہے کہ ایک مرتبہ سورہ حمد اور 3 مرتبہ سورہ توحید کی تلاوت کر کے سید عامر حسین ابن سید شاکر حسین کی روح کو بخش دیں. اللہم صلی علی محمد مختصر سا مجمع ہے لیکن میں گزارش کروں گا کہ مجلس کا ماحول بنائیں. جو لوگ دور دور بیٹھے ہیں آپ لوگ قریب آ جائیں اور مجلس جیسا ماحول بن جائے. یہ پیش خوانی جو ہوتی ہے اس کا مقصد یہی ہوتا ہے کہ جو مجلس پڑھنے والا ہے ذاکر حسین ہیں ان کے لیے ایک پلیٹ فارم بنا کے پیش کریں تاکہ وہ مجلس کی ذمہ داری ادا کر سکیں. اور محمد و آل محمد صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآلہ۔ اور ایک بات میں اور بتاتا چلوں کہ شیخ جلیل سے ابھی میری بات ہوئی تھی تو وہ راستے میں دیر ہو رہی ہے ان کو، تو ہم لوگ جلدی مجلس شروع کر رہے ہیں تاکہ بہت سارے لوگ ہیں جن کو اور ساری کمٹمنٹ ہیں، ذمہ داریاں ہیں، تو انشاءاللہ وہ آ جائیں گے، لیکن اگر دیر ہوئی تو یہ آپ کی خدمت میں کوشش کی جا رہی ہے، انشاءاللہ کوشش قبول مقبول ہوگی۔ اور محمد و آل محمد صلوات اللہ صلی علی محمد و سید عامر حسین ایک نوجوان تھے، ان کے 3 بچے ہیں، بیٹے ہیں بیٹیاں ہیں، تو جو میں سلام پیش کرنے جا رہا ہوں اسی عنوان سے کہ باپ گزرتا ہے تو بچوں پہ کیا گزرتی ہے۔ اجل جب آ کے کسی حق نوا سے ملتی ہے، اور اس میں خوشخبری بھی ہے کہ ہمارا عقیدہ ہے جو محبت آل محمد میں مرتا ہے وہ معمولی موت نہیں ہوتی، اس کو شہادت کا درجہ ملتا ہے۔ تو تمام فضائل، تمام خوشخبریاں اس اشعار میں آپ کے سامنے پیش کی جا رہی ہیں کہ جو مرحوم کو انشاءاللہ اللہ عطا کر رہا ہے۔ اجل جب آ کے کسی حق نوا سے ملتی ہے، اجل جب آ کے کسی حق نوا سے ملتی ہے، حضور نئی حیات اسے کربلا سے ملتی ہے، نئی حیات اسے کربلا سے ملتی ہے، غلام آل نبی کو کہیں بھی دفن کرو، غلام آل نبی کو کہیں بھی دفن کرو، دوری خاک جا کے در فاطمہ سے ملتی ہے، یہ خاک جا کے در فاطمہ سے ملتی ہے، اندھیرا ہو نہیں سکتا لحد میں مومن کی، اندھیرا ہو نہیں سکتا لحد میں مومن کی روشنی سے اشک عزا سے ملتی ہے، کی روشنی سے اشک عزا سے ملتی ہے، جو آئے عشق علی میں اسے نہ موت کہو، یہی خوشخبری ہے اس کا میں ذکر کر رہا تھا، جو آئے عشق علی میں اسے نہ موت کہو، نوید خلد کی فضل خدا سے ملتی ہے، نوید خلد کی فضل خدا سے ملتی ہے۔ اور محرم آ رہا ہے، آپ محسوس کرتے ہیں اس سینے پہ جو ماتم کے داغ ہوتے ہیں کس طرح سے مومن کی شفا کے لیے کام آتے ہیں۔ داغ ماتم شبیر قیمت جنت، داغ ماتم شبیر قیمت جنت، سند نجات کی خاک شفا سے ملتی ہے، سند نجات کی خاک شفا سے ملتی ہے۔ شباہت الفتح حیدر عظیم نعمت ہے، شیخ بھی پڑھتے ہیں اور اکثر ہم ذکر کرتے رہتے ہیں کہ ماں باپ کی خدمت کرنا کتنی بڑی نعمت ہے، کتنا پروردگار کس طرح سے نعمتوں میں اس کو تبدیل کرتا ہے۔ شباہت الفتح حیدر عظیم نعمت ہے، جسے بھی ملتی ہے ماں کی دعا سے ملتی ہے، جسے بھی ملتی ہے۔ صلوات حی علی خیر العمل ہم اذان میں کہتے ہیں، اس کی فضیلت کیا ہے؟ 4 مصرے سماعت فرمائیں۔ گواہی نامے علی کی جہاں نہیں ہوتی، گواہی نامے علی کی جہاں نہیں ہوتی، قسم خدا کی وہ کامل اذان نہیں ہوتی، سخن میں جس کے نہ خیر العمل کی دعوت ہو، سخن میں جس کے نہ خیر العمل کی دعوت ہو، وہ قوم کچھ بھی کرے کامران نہیں ہوتی، وہ قوم کچھ بھی کرے کامران نہیں ہوتی۔ صلوات یہ مجلس حسین جو ہم قائم کرتے ہیں ایصال ثواب کے سلسلے میں، اس کا کیا مرتبہ ہے؟ میرے حسین کی مجلس جہاں نہیں ہوتی، میرے حسین کی مجلس جہاں نہیں ہوتی، کسی طرح کی بھی रौनक वहाँ नहीं होती, किसी तरह की भी रौनक वहाँ नहीं होती। शऊर इल्म अमल मजलिसों से मिलता है, शऊर इल्म अमल मजलिसों से मिलता है। हुज़ूर हमारी उम्र यहाँ रायगां नहीं होती, मेरे हुसैन की मजलिस जहाँ नहीं होती। सलवात मोहम्मद। अब वही आपके सामने जो बात हुई थी, इम्तिहान में मैं मुब्तला हूँ, इम्तिहान में मैं हूँ इस वक्त। वह मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु। इससे पहले कि मैं मसलिया पेश करूँ, दो चार शेर समात फरमाइए, क्योंकि इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं ज़ाकिर हुसैन रेजिडेंट आलिम। फिर ज़रूरत है कोई हासिल ईमान आ जाए, ग़ैबत कुबरा में हम इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं। फिर ज़रूरत है कोई हासिल ईमान आ जाए, हुज़ूर वासिले कौनो मकान नाज़िशे दौरां आ जाए। लोग क़ुरान की खामोशी को बनाए हैं मज़ाक, लोग क़ुरान की खामोशी को बनाए हैं मज़ाक। काश ऐसे में कोई बोलता क़ुरान जाए, काश ऐसे में कोई बोलता क़ुरान जाए। सलवात। हसन रज़ी साहब, सैयद मोहम्मद ने बताया है कि 9 मिनट और हैं, तो आप इबादत में मसरूफ़ रहेंगे और जब शेख आएंगे इंशाअल्लाह नंबर तशरीफ़ लाए आएंगे। इन्होंने मुझे पहले ही कहा था कि ऐरा आप बेटे आगे आ जाओ थोड़ा सा, और मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु। जिनकी हम मजलिस अज़ा कर रहे हैं उनको ख़ास तौर से रसूल अल्लाह ने किस तरह से अहमियत दी, उनका रुतबा किस तरह से बढ़ाया। खुतबा हो रहा है, तमाम मुस्लिमीन बैठे हुए हैं, हसनैन अलैहिस्सलाम गिर जाते हैं, खुतबा छोड़ते हैं मिंबर से और आते हैं हसनैन अलैहिस्सलाम इमाम हुसैन को उठाते हैं और फिर दोबारा जाते हैं गोद में लेके। तो उनकी हम अहमियत समझें तो बहुत बड़ी ज़िंदगी की कामयाबी के लिए यही बहुत बड़ी चीज़ होगी। 4 मिसरे से नजरों में مصطفیٰ کے زہرا کا لاڈلا ہے، نظروں میں مصطفیٰ کے زہرا کا لاڈلا ہے، ٹھہری ہوئی زباں پہ توصیف کبریا ہے، ٹھہری ہوئی زباں پہ توصیف کبریا ہے۔ حضور ممبر سے کیوں نہ اتریں شبیر کو اٹھانے، ممبر سے کیوں نہ اتریں شبیر کو اٹھانے، حضور خطبہ نہ کیسے چھوڑیں قرآن گر پڑا ہے، خطبہ نہ کیسے چھوڑیں قرآن گر پڑا ہے۔ صلوات۔ ذی الحج کی تاریخوں میں ہم ہیں، اور امتیاز بھائی جب 28 رجب کی مجلس کرتے ہیں اس دن سے نواز رسول سفر میں ہے، کربلا کی منزل کی طرف گامزن ہے۔ 4 مصرے اسی حوالے سے سماعت فرمائیے۔ نکلا جو تیر ظلم و ستم کی کمان سے، نکلا جو تیر ظلم و ستم کی کمان سے، حضور اٹھا علی کا لال پیغمبر کی شان سے، اٹھا علی کا لال پیغمبر کی شان سے، نو کے ندا پہ کر کے تلاوت بتا دیا، دونوں کے سنا پہ کر کے تلاوت بتا دیا، حضور قرآن بولتا ہے ہماری زبان سے، قرآن بولتا ہے ہماری زبان سے۔ صلوات۔ کتنے منٹ رہ گیا؟ 1 منٹ، 1 بند ہے۔ فور منٹ۔ عسکری بھائی آپ اتنے دور بیٹھ گئے ہیں، آپ تو صاحب مجلس ادھر ہیں، قریب ہیں، پر محمد وعلی محمد صلوات محمد۔ یہ عسکری بھائی ہمارے ہمنوا ہیں، انہوں نے مجھے حکم دیا تھا کہ آپ کو پڑھنا ہے، ایسا کرنا ہے، تو ان سے دوری میں برداشت نہیں کر سکتا تھا آج کی مجلس میں، تو محبت ہے آپ کی، حکم دیا تو اب سنتے رہیں جب تک مولانا نہیں آتے۔ تو سید محمد صاحب کہہ رہے ہیں 4 منٹ اور باقی، تو آپ کو میں اپڈیٹ کرتا رہوں شیخ کے آنے کے لیے۔ اب یہ بتائیں کہ ہم لوگ مولا علی کی فضائل جتنا بھی پڑھیں کم ہے، اور ایک واقعہ ہے رد شمس کا۔ رد شمس مطلب یہ کہ سورج ڈوب گیا تھا، لیکن اس کو واپس آنا پڑا، کیونکہ مولا علی کی اذان نماز قضا نہیں ہو سکتی. اب اس کا تقابل ہے امام حسین کی شہادت. کوئی تقابل نہیں ہے کیونکہ باپ بیٹے ہیں، وہ اول امام ہیں، لیکن واقعے کی نظر میں آپ اس شعر کو دیکھیں آپ کو لطف آئے گا. مانا کی نماز علوی کی خاطر، مانا کی نماز علوی کی خاطر، حضور خورشید سر شام پلٹ آیا تھا، خورشید سر شام پلٹ آیا تھا. اب امام حسین کی تاریخ. لیکن تیرے ایک سجدے کی اللہ رے کشش، لیکن تیرے ایک سجدے کی اللہ رے کشش، حضور جاتا ہوا اسلام پلٹ آیا تھا، جاتا ہوا اسلام پلٹ آیا تھا. صلوات. اور محمد و آل محمد صلوات. اب میں ایک رباعت پیش کر رہا ہوں امام تمانا کے، دوسرے جناب زینب کی، اور پھر مرثیہ. حقیقتوں کا وہی اہتمام آج بھی ہے، غیبت کبریٰ میں. حقیقتوں کا وہی اہتمام آج بھی ہے، حقیقتوں کا وہی اہتمام آج بھی ہے. حضور ہدایتوں کا وہی فیض عام آج بھی ہے، ہدایتوں کا وہی فیض عام آج بھی ہے. پتہ نہیں ہے خلافت کے دعویٰ داروں کا، پتہ نہیں ہے خلافت کے دعویٰ داروں کا، مگر جہاں میں وجود امام آج بھی ہے، مگر جہاں میں وجود امام آج بھی ہے. صلوات. میں آپ سے بار بار صلوات کی گزارش کر رہا ہوں. اس کا اتنا ثواب آ گئے. نماز پڑھنے گئے کیا؟ دیکھ لیں اگر نماز پڑھنے گئے تو. اور محمد و آل محمد صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد. جناب زینب کے شان. اللہم صلی علی محمد. آجائیں مرثیہ کے لیے شہیدان کربلا کو ایک صرف فاتحہ. حسین جب کی چلے بعد دوپہر رن کو حسین جب کی چلے بعد دوپہر رن کو کوئی نہ تھا کہ جو تھامے رکاب تو سر کو حسین چپ کے کھڑے تھے جھکائے گردن کو سکینہ جھاڑ رہی تھی قبا کے دامن کو سکینہ جھاڑ رہی تھی قبا کے دامن کو ناصرہ تھا کوئی شاہ کربلا ناصرہ تھا کوئی شاہ کربلا کو فقط بہن نے کیا تھا سوار بھائی کو فقط بہن نے کیا تھا سوار بھائی کو حسین جب کی چلے صلوات Brothers and sisters, Sheikh had been here since 4:30 in the morning. He led Salatul Fajr, Nahjul Balagha Dars, went to hiking, went to Manassas Mosque. He had been continuously running. And I really salute to the courage and efforts of Sheikh Jalil. May Allah bless him for doing what all he is doing. And he is doing individually, all by himself. So you know him very well. I don't have to say anything about him. Without any further ado, I would request Sheikh Jalil to take the majlis podium. For Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ثم الصلاة والسلام على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين ذاب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد I would like to request Surah Al-Fatiha for the departed soul that we gathered here for. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with his soul. Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha. His name is Sayyid Amir Hussein, son of Sayyid Shakir Hussein. May Allah be pleased with him. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with all your marhumeen. Another Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. قال الله العلي العظيم في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون ما أريد منهم من رزق وما أريد منهم أن يطعمون إن الله هو الرزاق ذو القوة المتين صدق الله العلي العظيم. الله. Our topic this afternoon is a question that often comes in the mind of every human being, especially when we reach a certain age in life. Every human being, whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim, believer or non-believer, at some point this question must come in your mind. Many often some people find the answer, and sometimes people don't find the answer to this question. But whatever the case is, this question is a question that you cannot put a price on it. The most expensive question in our lifetime. And that question is, why am I living on this planet? What is the purpose of my creation on this planet? That is a question every one of us question themselves. At some age, you ask yourself, why am I here? Why did God create me? Why am I living? Am I living to eat, drink, like anybody else? Okay, animals do the same thing too. Animals, when they wake up in the morning, their whole goal is to eat and drink and sleep. Then what is the difference between me and animal? If I'm not created for a food and water and sleep, right? Or if I'm created for that reason, then an animal is much better than myself. Why? Because animal at some point got slaughtered. They will eat their meat, they eat their skin, but nobody slaughters me. So what is the purpose of my creation, my being on this planet? That is the most important question every human being must ask themselves at certain point of their life. Now, our Imam, Al-Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala. He comes and said, you're thinking about one question? He said, I have two more questions for you. Making it three questions that every reasonable person must ask themselves at some point of their lifetime. These three questions, they are very important. Now, the first one we said, why am I living? What is the purpose of my living on this planet? Why did God created me? Why am I put here? Imam Ali said there is one question before and one question after that. What is it? It's to ask yourself, where was I before this world or before living on this planet? Number two, after this world, where am I heading to? Is there life after this life? Or this is just it? That's the end of it. When we die, it's over. Right? Imam Ali alayhi salam in hadith, he said, Rahimallahu mri'in, may Allah bless any soul, male or female, who is able to answer these three questions. That if you ask him, where were you before this war? Because many often we think our life begins from the day our parents conceived us. But prior to that, we never lived. My life started the day I am being conceived. Good. And then my life ends when? The day I start breathing. That's the end of my life. So the life starts from the time you get conceived, from the day to you start breathing. Many of us, that's what we think. Imam Ali tells you, no, your life didn't begin from the day you were conceived. No, your life ends the day you get buried in the grave. As a matter of fact, the day you get conceived, you have changed from different world to that world. And the day you die, you change the world to another world. And he comes to tell you and I, every human being ever lived, must go through 5 different worlds, 6 different worlds. 6 different worlds. Allah created you and I, and we have to go through those 6 worlds, willingly or unwillingly. Number 1, the first world, there are many people still living there. They're still there, waiting. Their turn to get transferred from that world to the second world. Some people, they are now in the second world, waiting to be transferred to the third. Some people are in the third, waiting to be transferred to the fourth. Some people are in the fourth and waiting to go to the fifth. And the fifth is just the one that is the last one for now. The sixth one is empty. The sixth wall, nobody's there now. Nobody could be there because our moving to that sixth wall must be together as the entire creation. Every wall, we got one after the other. Quran says, لَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. I say, you keep coming to us one after the other. This one is born, that one is dead. That one is dead, that one is conceived. That one is conceived, that one is being born. That's how you come, one after the other. Until you reach to the Alam al-Barzakh. Now, Alam al-Qiyamah, all of you will go there together, all together. Now, what are those 6 worlds? The first one is called Alam al-Dharr or Alam al-Arwah. That is where we all started. Every one of us were there. We lived there for ages until Allah decided to move 1 person, 2 people, 5, 10 from time to time. And that Alam al-Dharr, we were all created together. From day one, Allah created Adam. Every human being who must live, must be created, was there on that day. We all were there. And Quran said we were tiny creatures on that day that Allah created us. And then Allah placed all of us in that world. And many things happened in that world called Alam al-Barzakh. There was question and answers between us and Allah. We answered those questions, but now we don't remember any of that. Now, from that world, Allah said, we transfer you one after the other from that world to another world called Alamul Aslab. Alam al-Aslab is your parents, your father's spinal cord. From Alam al-Arwah, the second world you go is what? It's your father's spinal cord. The day Allah created your father, you were with your father from that day. Many of the people who have not become fathers yet, and they will become fathers, their children are still with them. And they're moving around. Allah tells Rasulullah in the Quran, I say, Ya Rasulullah, I watch you, I saw you when you kept being transferred from one father to another father. وَالَّذِي يَرَاكَ حِينَ تَقُومُ وَتَقَلُّبَكَ فِي السَّاجِدِينَ. Where all your ancestors were prostrating and doing sujood from one father to another father, from one father to another father, until you reach to your last father known as Abdullah, who became your biological father. But Allah said, I saw you, Ya Rasulullah, and I will watch you when you get transferred from one father to another. That is Alam al-Aslab. Allah tells you every human being, all of us, from Alam al-Arwah, we get transferred to Alam al-Aslab. Now, many of the people, they are now in Alam al-Aslab. That's world number 2. And you read in Ziyarat Warid of Imam al-Hussein, we tell him the same thing. We says, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ashhadu annaka kunta nuran fil aslab al-shamikha. I testify, you Imam Hussein, you have been in your father's spine, which has been clean and pure. That is the second world called Alam al-Aslab. Then from there, we get transferred to the third world, and it's called Alam al-Arham. Our mother's womb. From the father, you go to the mother. That mother's womb is another world we live in. Some of us 9 months, some of us more, less. Then after that, that's the third world. From there, you get transferred to this world called Alam al-Shahada, the world of senses. You live in this world. Some of us 60 years, 100 years, 90, 40, whatever the years Allah assigned for you. Then from this world called the fourth one, you get transferred to the fifth world. And it's called Alam al-Barzakh. Then from Alam al-Barzakh, Allah said all of us will meet there at some point together. One is that when the day that Allah tells Malak Israfil to blow the horn, when that horn is blown, every being living will test there. And we all join one another in the Alam al-Barzakh, and we stay there for a certain time of period that Allah wanted. Then the last world is called Alam al-Qiyamah. That world, Quran says, how does it happen? On that day, Allah said, one angel called Israfil again will blow the horn. And when he does, then the entire humanity, the angels, the jinn, the animals, all of us get resurrected at once. فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي السُّورِ فَإِذَا هُمْ جَمِيعٌ لَدَيْنَا مُحْضَرُونَ. Allah said, when that happens, all of you will be brought to us. You will be matched by the angels. From where? From the grave. How? Quran tells you, when we come out of the grave, every human being, Yawm al-Qiyamah, we will stand by the grave, wondering what is happening. And Quran quote you in Surah Yasin, قَالُوا يَا وَيْلَنَا مَنْ بَعَثَنَا مِنْ مَرْقَدِنَا. To woe unto us. Who is he who brought us out of this grave on a day such like today? What happened? Then the answer comes from the angels. هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون. This is exactly what the prophets promised you. They told you. And also the prophet, Allah promised you, and the prophet told you, and they told you the truth. Then what happened? From that world, we all get escorted. Now listen, Quran says in Surah Yasin, فَإِذَا هُمْ جَمِيعٌ لَدَيْنَا مُحْضَرُونَ. They will be brought to Allah. All of us will be brought to Allah. How will we be brought to Allah? The narration say the angels will match every human being. On that day, Quran said in Surah Qaf, every human being was assigned by an angel. Every human being has an angel who will lead you, drive you from that grave to where you're supposed to be. And Quran says, وَجَاءَ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَعَهَا سَائِقٍ. Sa'iq means driver. In Arabic, sa'iq means driver. وَشَهِيد. Each one of you will be brought by the driver. Like today, when you want to go somewhere and you don't drive, what happened? Somebody takes you. Allah said, Yawm al-Qiyamah, from the grave to where you're supposed to be, you are assigned by a specific angel who's going to walk with you. There is no way, no, I'm going to go this way. No. You're going to be matched. Have you seen where police, when they match people, can't go anywhere, have to focus? That's what happened in Yawm al-Qiyamah. Shahidun, Sa'iqun wa Shaheed. Everyone is driven. To where? To what's called Ardul Mahshar. And you stay there for a certain period of time, then the Hisab and Iqab starts. These are the 6 worlds Allah created. Alam al-Dar, Alam al-Aslab, Alam al-Arham, Alam al-Shahada, Alam al-Barzakh, and Alam al-Qiyamah. Imam Ali reminds you, don't think that you started from the day you were conceived. You lived before that, and you will live after your death too. But the question is, why am I living here? Why am I created to be placed on this planet? And you ask this Quran tells you, I'll tell you. Before you find out why you are here, Quran says, ask everything that is around you. The heavens, the stars, the moon, the earth, the plants, the animals. Allah said, I tell you why they all were created. Ya Allah, why? Allah said, all of them were created to serve you, human being. Everything in this universe, Allah said the purpose of their creation is to serve you. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مِنْهُ. Allah said everything that you see around you is to serve you. Everything is under your service. Now the question, Ya Allah, everything is serving me, but who am I here to serve? Everything is under my control. I control the food. I control the earth. Do whatever I want to do. Ya Allah, who am I here to serve? Am I here to eat, sleep, and go to bed and die afterwards? Or there is reason why Allah put you here? Quran tells you, and Islam tells you, we created you for 3 reasons. There are 3 reasons you and I live on this planet. There are 3 reasons why Allah put you in here. And that is why it's very important, all of us as Muslims, to know the purpose of your creation on this planet. Don't think that you were put here to eat and drink and die, and just a matter of time, and you're dead and it's gone. No, it's not. That responsibility that Allah put on your shoulder is greater than that. Question, Ya Rabb, why am I put on this planet? The first narration comes in Hadith al-Qudsi. Allah tells you, it says, كُنْتُ كَنْزًا مَخْفِيًّا فَخَلَقْتُ الْخَلْقَ لِكَيْ أُعْرَفَ. Allah said, I was a hidden treasure. Nobody knew me. Nobody recognizes me. And I created the creation to get to know me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why when you go to Nahj al-Balagha, the first khutbah of Imam Ali, every Shia should read that khutbah. The first khutbah in Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Ali says, أَوَّلُ الدِّينِ مَعْرِفَةُ. The first thing in Islam is to get to recognize your creation, your creator. That's the first thing. You wander around, you look at the sky, the heavens, you look within yourself, and you find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many oftentimes, we're looking for the reason to prove that God exists. We're looking for a reason to believe that God exists. Al-Imam al-Hussein tells you, and Dua Arafah, it says, Ya Allah, my Lord, anybody who's asking the evidence that you exist or you don't exist, I testify that person is blind. Because any person who can see, as I can see you through everything around themselves. When you look at yourself, you can see Allah within yourself. When you look at every creation, you have to see Allah into that. That is the evidence that Allah is there, and to get to recognize Allah. Now you want to know more about Allah within yourself? Quran tells you, سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah said, we will show you within the sky the miracles of Allah, and we show you through your own creation that Allah exists. Now you look at yourself, brothers and sisters, examine this body, and you can remember that, you can recognize there's a God. Look at every organ that Allah created in you. Let's start with the ears. I have ears, you have ears. Alright? You look at my ear, the shape is the same like anybody else. Alright? But then you look in front of you, there is another man called deaf. He cannot hear. But I can hear. He has everything like I do. Right? The shape, the look, the size is the same. Right? But I can hear. But he cannot hear. What is the difference that makes me to hear and stop him from hearing? You think it's the ear that makes you to hear? He has it. Right? But why is not hearing? And I can hear. Right? That tells you there is something beyond this called ears. There is some power extra Allah gave you to hear and didn't give to him. And that is what to make you to recognize there is something called God. Because if I'm just worried about the look and the shape, he has it. I have it. Why can I hear and he cannot hear? Not only that, you look these organs that Allah created and the system within this body, right? And the miracle that Allah put within it. Today you and I, we don't sit to look. This miracle that Allah created in your body to recognize there is a God. But when you look that system with the deep thinking, you recognize there is something called God. Do you know, you and I, my brothers and sisters, every day you sleep, you wake up, you move, you jump, you talk, you laugh, you cry, you do anything that you want to do. But within this called body, there is a system Allah created. And they're working with each other. Every organ have a cooperation with another organ within your body. With your body. The circulation of the blood, the pumping of the heart, they're all working together. This heart has a amount of minute it has to pump the blood or beat. If it goes more than that, there's a problem. If it goes lower, it's a problem. Ya Allah, who is the one who has assigned this heart to know how much to beat so that the body can function properly? Ya Allah, who is the one who make this body to recognize when I eat how much the body needs and how much needs to go out as an extra that is not needed? You think all of this just happening randomly? The air that you breathe in and out. You sleep, you breathe in. You are up, you breathe in and out, and you don't need anything. But if something is to go wrong, you walk to the hospital, the doctor to put that oxygen, they say you need a copay. I need your insurance card, I have to charge you. But have you ever stopped to think, who is that one who gave me the ability to breathe in and breathe out every day, and I don't have to pay anything? I walk and eat and sleep, and this blessing is continuously going on. That is the first thing you need to know to get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Imam Ali, when they ask him, Ya Ali, hal ra'ayta rabbak? Have you seen your Lord? He said, of course I have seen him. How? I said, ma ra'aytu shay'an. I never see anything unless I see Allah with it. Wa ma'ahu, I see Allah before, with it, and after it. If we are to comprehend everything in front of us, you can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You look, many miracles you can see of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see parents, a father and a mother, they have 3 children. They all come from the same father, they came from the same mother, but different akhlaq. Ya Allah, what is happening? They're supposed to look the same, act the same, got the same father, the same mother. Right? Now, sometimes, not akhlaq, even the color of the skin is not the same. Ya Rab, you are the same father, nothing has changed. The same mother, nothing has changed. They conceived the child, the first one looks different. The second one have different look. The third one is look different. The akhlaq is different, everything is different. Ya Allah, how did that happen? Quran tells you, وَهُوَ الَّذِي يُصَوِّرُكُمْ فِي الْأَرْحَامِ كَيْفَ يَشَاءُ. I say, I'm the one who shapes your image, your look, your features in your mother's womb as I wish and like. That is the first ma'rifah. The reason we're here is to spend some time to get to find your Creator. Get to recognize your Lord. That's number 1. Number 2, the Quran says that the second reason why you're here, after you get to know your Lord, is to serve Him. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I said, I put you on this planet, get to recognize me. After you recognize me, there is something you have to do, and that is what? To worship the Creator who has been the source of all your blessings. It's a human nature. When a human being is being given or being done kindness to, your fitra, your akal say you should appreciate the person. Today, if you and I, at your workplace, in your neighborhood, somebody did something good, what does your akal tells you? I say I have to appreciate them. I have to thank them. Alright? That's the normal thing. Now, not only human beings, even animals. A dog, you will come to it right now. Tomorrow, you give it the food. The next day, you pet it. Right? You see, you give it the food. The fourth, the fifth day, the dog sees you, it wags his tail, and he wants to come around you. Why? Because you will come to it. When you look in your life, who is the most kinder individual in your life? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every organ you're proud of it today, you call yourself human being, came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Imam said in Dua Arafah, he reminds you, he said, look, number one, when I look at myself in the mirror and I'm pleased with the way I look, I said, where did that look came from? Did I create myself? Absolutely not. Did I pay for somebody to make me? No. But how did I come to look the way I look and appreciate the way I look? He said, Allah is the one who gave you that. Did I ever stop at some point to say, thank you, Ya Allah, for such a great blessing? Not only that, after He created you, He made sure that everything you need in this life, the air you breathe is already there 24/7. And Allah is so kind, He didn't put the air to breathe in the hand of anybody else. Today, just the gas to put in your car is controlled by someone. Somebody, sometimes you go, they jump the price. Sometimes they bring the price down. Sometimes they say there's no gas to buy. That's because human being is controlling it, huh? Now imagine if Allah to put the air you breathe in the hand of another human being. Right? Allah knew that. Allah said, I'm not gonna put this power in the hand of anybody else. You have it accessible 24/7 as you wish. Right? All of these blessings, Allah, do you deserve me to say thank you, Ya Allah? That is where the ibadah comes in. Ibadah that we do is all to thank Allah for His blessings. And that is why in Surah Al-Fatiha, the first surah Allah wrote in Surah Al-Quran is called Surah Al-Fatiha. What do we say in the second ayah after Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? We say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you look, brothers and sisters, in your life, many often people might be kind to you. People might play a big role in your life, right? But many often after sometimes, they tell you in your face, I did this for you. If not because of me, you wouldn't have been who you are today. I did this for you. If not me, you wouldn't be living today. If not because of me, you wouldn't have become the way you are today, right? That is human being. How much did Allah ever say this for you to you? Of all what He does, Allah never come to say anything in front of you. But as a human being, is to think and say to Allah, thank you, Allah, for all these blessings. Every ibadah that you do in Islam, 5 daily prayer, fasting, Hajj, Zakat, don't think that you're doing Allah a favor. Yes, you're doing yourself a favor. Our ibadah will not increase anything in the kingdom of Allah. Not doing ibadah to Allah will not reduce anything in His kingdom either. Everything that we do, salat, fasting, ibadah, everything go back to us. Now, give you an example, brothers and sisters. Many of us are parents today. When you have a child and you put them into school, they finish, you drop them to school, you pick them, you buy books, you buy uniform, you buy them everything they need. They end up going to college, they do everything. You spend money on them, you do everything. What do you expect? Nothing. You do it out of pure love because they are your child. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever He does, He is not expecting anything from you. He does it out of pure love that He has for us. And that is why we as a servant, we have to serve Allah also out of pure of love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is number 2. So you and I are placed on this planet for ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And look at how Allah is great. When you do ibadah and you do what He asks you, He turns around and say, I'm grateful to you, my servant. What a great creator, huh? He created you. He gave you everything. Now the ibadah is not for him, it's for you. But even when you do the ibadah, he turns and says, I'm grateful to you, my servant, for obedience and doing what I ask you to do. What a great creator. That is the second reason we were placed in this world. Number 3, Allah said, I place you in this world to test you. You are in this world for the purpose of test. How is it? Allah said, I created something called khair, good, and shar, all of it, so that I get to test you. To see what? To see how true believer you could be. You know, many often people say, I love you, I care for you. But how can they prove that they care for you? When they put it into practice. Allah said, you say you're a believer. Alif Lam Mim, ahasiban nasu an yutraku an yaqulu amanna. People say they're believers. People say they love Allah. They're obedient to Allah. Allah said, do you think you will say that and you never get tested? I'm going to test you so that you prove to yourself that yes, you really believe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَنَبْلُوَكُمْ بِالْخَيْرِ وَالشَّرِّ. Our tests can be sometimes good and sometimes can be bad. All those are tests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with anything in life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't think that it's just a blessing, it's a test. Every blessing in your life is a test. Example, I'm healthy today. It's test. Ya Allah, why my health is test? Allah want to test you. This health that He gave you, are you going to appreciate Him and say, thank you, Allah? Because when you look around, there are people the same like you who are in the hospital. They cannot even leave their bed in the hospital. There are people not only that, they are at home. They cannot leave their home because they're sick. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose you to give you health. Are you going to spare a time and say, Ya Allah, thank you for blessing me with health? Not only that, Allah bless you with a life. You have a work. You have a roof over your head. You can move around. You have a car. Have you ever stopped to say, Ya Allah, thank you for such a blessing. I look around and I see people called homeless. They don't have any place called home. And I look at myself, I have something called home. Ya Allah, not only that, I look around and I see people who don't have anything to ride. They have to leave their home and walk to a place called bus stop, to catch a bus, to wait for bus, and then walk from there to another place. Ya Allah, I walk out of my house, there is a car, I jump in, drive to wherever I want to go and come back. Ya Allah, it's not me, it's nothing but your blessing. Thank you, Ya Allah, for such blessings. Have you ever stopped to thank Allah for having a child that Allah bless you with? Many people spend their money and money and money so they can have a child, but they never happen for them. All of these blessings that Allah surrounded you with, have you ever stopped to say, thank you, Ya Allah? No, but more often, when we get tested with something that is sickness, for example, or losing somebody in our life, instead of getting back and being patient, we turn to complain. Why this happened to me? Why did Allah do to me? I can't believe this happened to me. Why this is happening? Something wrong? Well, Allah tells you that everything that happened in your life is a test coming from me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that test to ask you to see how you are going to react in that test. Are you going to be patient to Allah and strength and be strong during that moment? Or am I going to be complaining to Allah about the test that He's put me? And that is why Ahlul Bayt taught us, whenever any tragedy, any difficulty comes on your way, look at Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. They are the best example for us in any tragedy. Any tragedy that you can think you ever been to, Ahlul Bayt have been into the worst of it. But they never complain other than to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anytime Allah put you into trial, remember the one thing, that every trial that Allah put you into is to strengthen you and make you even bigger person than what you are today. And that is what Allah does. when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put Ahlul Bayt into those tests, is to make them greater human beings than ever before. And the best example we can learn whenever a tragedy occurs in our life is to look at Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who was a symbol of patience, symbol of patience in every aspect of life. Have you ever seen a person who lost a mother at the early age? And his mother is not like my mother or your mother. His mother is Zahra al-Batul. When he was young and child, he saw his mother was killed in front of his eyes. Not only that, a few years later, he had a father, Imam Ali alayhi salam. He watched in front of his eyes when he was struck also in the Masjid al-Kufa. He saw his father struggle for 3 days with the poison he was struck with, and finally died from it. Not only that, Imam Hussein, a few years later, he watched his own brother, Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, who was also given a poison, which the narrator said, the poison that was given to Imam al-Hasan, they never even used to give to the worst animal of that time. But Imam Hassan was given that poison, which ended up causing him to throw blood after blood before his martyrdom. And Imam Hussein watched that in front of his eyes. Then later on, another tragedy befalls him himself, where he saw his entire companion were killed one after the other in front of his eyes. People he dared, he cherished and respected, all of them were killed. Now, not only his companions, his own children. And do you know how hard that could be for any human being? You know, every father, our prayers is we die so our children get to bury us. No father ever prayed that his children die and he get to bury his children. But imagine Abu Abdullah on the day of Ashura. He has to bury his own children, not one. He buried them with his own hands. Watch them be murdered in his hand, one after the other. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam have to witness all of that. One of them happened to be an infant, 6 months old, Ali al-Asghar, who his mother took him with her to the Karbala. As they were there after 3 days without water, without nothing, she brought him to the mother and she said, Ya Aba Abdullah, al-Atash, laqad qatala waladi al-Atash. My son is dying from the thirst. And look at his lips, there was no water in the tent, no milk to be given to him as well. Can you do something? Get water for him. Imam Hussein took his son, he brought him to the front of those enemies. And as he looked at them, and the narration said, فَإِذَا هُمْ كَالسَّيْلَ, and the enemies like an ocean of people in front of him. And he said to them, oh people, if you consider me the criminal, if you consider me I don't deserve to drink that water, which water? The water that the dogs and pigs drink from, and you are denying the grandson of Rasulullah from the access of that water. If you think I don't deserve to drink that water, what is the crime of this infant? Why are you denying him from this water? If you don't trust me, take him, give him water and bring him back to your father, to his father. Then that is when some of them said, oh, give him water. Some of them said, no, don't give him water. Finally, Umar ibn Sa'ad, la'natullahi alayhi, he looked at one of the best shooters among his soldiers, named as Harmala, la'natullahi alayhi. He told him, Ya Harmala, I want you to kill that baby to end the dispute among my army. This child was in the arm of his father, asking for only water. But what did they give him instead of water? They gave him an arrow instead of the water that he asked. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, as he was waiting for them to bring water, suddenly what happened? جاءه السحاب, an arrow came and slaughtered him from one jungle event to other jungle event. Imam Zayd al-Abidin tells us the story. He said the worst of everything that happened on the day of Ashura is the killing of my younger brother Ali al-Asghar. They asked him what was the reason. He said because I saw my father on that day as he was holding my brother, and when he got shot with that arrow, I saw my brother like a bird, no wings to fly, and release himself from the pain, and didn't die either from that pain as well. He said I saw him, and that moment when the blood was gushing from his neck, my father put his hand under the neck, his hand was filled with the blood. He then raised his eyes in the sky, and he looked and he spoke to Allah at that moment, and he says, Ilahi la yakunanna hadha ahwanu alayka. Ya Allah, this crime shouldn't be less compared to the crime of the people who killed the camel of Salah. And then the second thing he did, he put his hand under the neck of his son. The hand was filled with the blood, but this time he wiped the blood on the face of his son, and he says, بني هذا أريد أن تلقى جدك رسول الله. He said, my son Ali al-Asghar, I want this blood to be on your face. You go and meet your grandfather Rasulullah, and you don't have to tell him anything, and the blood on your face will tell him every piece of your pain that you went through. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he turned towards the tent. Now look at the mother as she ran towards her son, and she was calling, Al Sakaita ibni ma, have you given my son water and brought me some of the water? Imam Hussein, I cannot even imagine the answer of Imam Hussein on that day, but I can imagine that voice of Imam Hussein on that day was filled with the sorrow as he was responding to the wife. خذي ولدك مذبوحا. He said, have your son, take your son. Which son? Who has been slaughtered from one jungle event to other jungle event. Now the mother, as she saw her son, may Allah strengthen the heart of all mothers. Remember the mothers, how they close to their children. Now remember, if the child is Ali al-Asghar, the mother looked at him and she said to him, oh Bunayya Ali, I wish I knew they will kill you like they killed the other shuhada. I will prepare you better than the way I prepared you. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Ya Allah, we ask you the reward of this majlis, the thawab of these tears. Ya Allah, we ask you to send it to Al-Marhum Sayyid Amir Hussein, son of Sayyid Shakir Hussein. May Allah be pleased with his soul. Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha and 3 Surah Al-Ikhlas. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على. Inshallah we go for okay.
Hussein, 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 Hussein. Amma rukana shimre بستر قدم تھی دور، یہ زینب حسین سے بھائی بھائی پکارتی رہی میں، پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا ماں، بھائی بھائی پکارتی رہی میں، پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا۔ شمر نے کی پھر ایسی گستاخی، مجھ سے دیکھا نہیں گیا ماں، بھائی بھائی پکارتی رہی میں، پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا ماں، بھائی بھائی پکارتی رہی میں، تم جو زلفیں سوارا کرتی تھی، انہی زلفوں میں ہاتھ تھا اس کا، جہاں بوسے دیے تھے نانا نے، اسی گردن سے خون ٹپکتا تھا، سر شبیر یوں اٹھائے ہوئے شمر خیمے تک آ گیا ماں، بھائی بھائی پکارتی رہی میں، پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا ماں، دیکھ کر مجھ کو بین کرتے ہوئے شمر ہر بار مسکراتا رہا، میری نظروں کے سامنے ظالم وار کر کر چھری چلاتا رہا، تیرا ضربے تھی کند خنجر تھا، اور شبیر کا گلا ماں، بھائی بھائی پکارتی رہی میں، پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا، چاروں جانب سے گھیر رکھا تھا، تیرے نور نظر کو لشکر نے، تیر برساتا تھا کوئی اس پر، کوئی پتھر سے مارتا تھا اسے، ریت زخموں پہ وہ گراتا رہا، جس کو پتھر نہیں ملا ماں، بھائی بھائی پکارتی رہی میں، نہیں رکا، ہے کیسی نفرت تھی ان کے سینوں میں، یہ بھی سوچا نہ شام والوں نے، دین اسلام میں ذبیحہ تک ذبح پیاسے کیے نہیں جاتے، 3 دن سے حسین پیاسا ہے، یہ بھی سوچا نہیں گیا ماں، بھائی بھائی پکار رہی میں پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا اماں بھائی بھائی پکارتی رہی میں پھر بھی خنجر نہیں رکا حسین 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 حسین